If you know us, or specifically me, you won't be surprised to know that seeing a giant polar bear was on our to-do list today. Too bad the picture didn't turn out, though.
Driven by adventure, guided by intuition and a compass. Always explore what's around the next bend. Hi, I'm R.
And I'm T, and we're the Family Toys, back for day 2 of our trip to Thunder Bay. So when we left off, we were camped in the sand pit, gravel pit, and the mosquitoes were really bad when we woke up in the morning.
We made coffee and put everything down, and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Out of there.
It was a nice spot in the morning. It was quiet. It was so nice to wake up to just the sound of the cicadas rather than little kids running around like at Algonquin. So much nicer to wake up that way. And even though it was quiet, I didn't sleep in again.
That tent is crazy. You wake up in the morning and it's so dark inside it that you don't even know if it's dark. Like, unless you have one of the windows cracked, you could it could be completely daylight and it's so dark in there.
When we realized it was going to be another warm day, our goal though was to try to get out of there before the sun got over the trees. And we did a pretty good job. I don't think I did dishes all week.
What a slave driver.
I mean, but that's supposed to be what vacation's about, right?
It's fine. Actually, doing dishes.
He makes the great coffee, he does the dishes, he sets up the tent, and drives.
I'm Tim Hortons, and I'm the dishwasher boy.
The morning Tim Hortons, because I provide all the gift cards for the afternoon Tim Hortons, thanks to my students, who I love. I went to the truck to get something, and I thought it might be under the seat. And I was reaching around, and I pulled this out. It's a big, thick winter mitten.
Oh, right. That's a snowmobile glove.
I was like, I know we're going to Thunder Bay, but I was a little bit surprised to see mittens in the truck.
That's where they stay, under the seat. You never know.
Yeah, everything should have a home, right? This, I don't think it showed very well in the picture. It was this giant ant colony. It looked from a distance like just another section of moss and lichen, but when I got up to it, there was like a million ants. And it was so cool because I don't think I've ever seen an ant colony like that. This last time I shared my favorite thing that I'd packed, the scarf. This was probably the other favorite thing that we had packed, the step stool that folds down. Unfortunately, spoiler, it didn't make it home with us. Someone else is enjoying it now. Lots of birds around up there. Google tells me this is either a hermit thrush or a veery thrush. I don't know. Just looks like a bird. I think it's so cool when you're on these like back roads and stuff that there's actually street signs. Someone had to go up there and put up the street sign. But I've seen it all over, like places you don't expect to see other people, and there's a street sign. We made it into town. The whole purpose of going this way was to go to the Cochrane Polar Bear Habitat. Woo! They do offer camping there. It is totally kind of rustic. You have to be self-contained, and we're not entirely. The only bathrooms they have are in the Welcome Center, which closes at 5. So that wasn't ideal for us. When you go in, there's all these placards. I'm just going to play through them. If you want to read them, you can pause and read them.
It's kind of cool because it's a sanctuary for they rehabilitate polar bears, and they take ones that are displaced or they're injured or whatever, and they rehabilitate them. So it's kind of neat. They had basically, when we were there, they had 2 polar bears there that they had been there quite a long time.
Yeah.
And it's quite the cool facility because they have indoor areas, but then they also have this huge outdoor area. And this area that they have it's acres and acres. It's all fenced off.
I think it's the largest natural polar bear fence habitat in Canada or even the world, maybe.
Yeah, and to give you a sense of size, the whole habitat includes this giant lake, and it's a pretty big lake, right?
Yeah.
So they have it's all fenced. They have full run of the lake all the way around the lake, and it's huge. Like it's a lot. It's really big. It's kind of neat, right?
The one thing that I thought was really neat reading all those placards was a lot of these polar bears travel back and forth to the Toronto Zoo. So can you imagine like just being on Highway 400 and realizing the truck in front of you has like a polar bear in it? That would be kind of cool. And so over the years, they've had different number of bears, and right now they're down to 2. And we only got to see 1, which was fine because it was cooler than anything I expected. And they told us where it was because they were feeding, and they keep in touch with the front desk so that they can let people know their best bet to go see them. And we arrived right when the guy was being fed. And that was like polar bears are big.
Yeah. What's so surprising about
Yeah.
them is when you see them up close like that, how big how big they are, and then what especially is interesting is how big the paws are. Right? They're just absolutely huge.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen polar bears at the Toronto Zoo, usually with like another 100 people trying to see them, and there was only maybe a couple families.
There's like an indoor area where it's all glass walls. There's a pool outside the window, so you can see like through the window and you can see them swimming and stuff. So this is where they were feeding him. So like we went in there and you got to see he was hamming it up for the cameras too, right? Like they had him standing up and stuff like that. So,
you couldn't see the person feeding them, but the bear obviously could, and they were up high, so they were making him stand. A little bit of showmanship, but I'm sure he was fine with it. The other cool thing was they have a little kind of wading pool area with a plexiglass wall, so you can actually go in that pool, and the bear might swim by the wall or might not.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. The little kids like it.
Yeah.
So it's really a wading pool for the little kids, right? So.
And there's lots of extra things in the water that you might see that the polar bears like to have to play with, like pylons and the big barrels, even sometimes coffee cups and stuff they'll give the bears, just so that they have things apparently to play with. I don't know what they play with in the North Pole, but and it was just like, I know how big they are, but when you actually see them standing there or swimming past you, and the paws are like, ooh, so massive, and the little tail and the little tiny ears.
Yeah, the paws are like the size of your head.
Yeah, it's just like, okay. It makes me even more want to go to Churchill and take one of the polar bear tours.
Yeah.
But, all right. As well as the polar bear habitat, they have this heritage village there with all these old buildings that they've moved there and some really cool displays. Here's Rob on a tractor.
Yeah, this is the firehouse. This is their fire station.
Oh, yeah. So Cochrane Fire Department, it says there. Yeah. And then we walked by another section, and one of the handlers was feeding the polar bear while she ate her lunch. So she was eating a bite of apple and then sharing a bite with the polar bear. I had to take this picture because of the sweater. That's a Mary Maxim design, which is a Canadian knitwear company that makes these kits for sweaters. And right now there's a really popular one from some movie with one of the Canadian Ryans in it, which you probably don't know, but
no.
I think it's supposed to be a wolf on the sweater. That is schoolhouse, which is cool to see. One-room schoolhouse. How it would have been in the old days. It's hard to imagine this tiny town having schools and kids having to go through the bush to get to school. General store, lots of cool stuff in there. And then we went back to the main building, and they have a lot of really great art on display by this woman whose info is up there if you want to see it. Some of it you can buy prints, you can buy t-shirts, and like a lot of different things in the gift shop. I was really impressed with some of the things that they had in the gift shop, like soapstone carving kits.
Yeah, they're all polar bear related.
Or
stuff.
Northern Ontario things.
A lot of the artwork and stuff, it's got polar bears in it and stuff. Yeah. So it's kind of neat. And
I have to say the prices weren't terrible. I was pleased with the prices. They also have a snowmobile museum. They're just trying to cover everything. Cochrane's really well known for snowmobiling. We've been to the Bombardier Museum in Quebec, and he really liked that, didn't you?
Oh, the Bombardier Museum in Quebec is so cool. But it went through the various iterations of from the start of snowmobiles all the way to like present day. And it had all manufacturers. And so it was kind of neat, but I mean, it was kind of almost like someone's collection.
A lot of the names on the like donated by was by someone I think who owned the Home Hardware. Some of them are donated by racers, but I thought it was kind of cool that you could see all different brands, whereas at Bombardier you only see Bombardier ones now.
Yeah, when we went to the Bombardier one, they had non-snowmobiles as well, but now they've switched it and it's all Skidoo only. I mean, the Bombardier one was amazing because it's, obviously it's got a lot of money behind it and stuff, and it's, it's being caretaken by Bombardier, right? So.
But this one was cool because it was more local and there was a lot of variety. Some really weird snowmobiles that you might not imagine.
Yeah, I was walking around reminiscing about Oh, I remember that snowmobile. I remember that.
Yeah, and I
that
remember some of them too.
snowmobile and stuff. So
And it was cool to see like the different brands, how they evolved at different rates compared to each other's. Like one looked really ahead of its time, but then the other ones caught up.
Snowmobiles today are like they're so advanced compared to what they were, and as you look through the years and stuff, it kind of shows the evolution, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see.
I thought it was interesting, and I don't snowmobile. But one cool thing they have in the main part was this giant polar bear that you could sit on. He was hand carved out of marble, and you are definitely allowed to sit on him. And there's a sign that encourages you to do that. And we actually had a really nice lady offer to take our picture as we sat on the polar bear. And then we drove around the town of Cochrane. We found the big polar bear, and that's a couple views of him so you can see what it was supposed to look like as opposed to what it looked like at the start of the video. We also had to find the LCBO in town, which was one of those older style ones, which is really cool because all the ones down here have been updated. And then we headed out west along Highway 11.
Yeah.
And about lunchtime, we happened to see a chip truck, French fry truck, hamburger truck, whatever you call them where you are. So we decided to stop and have a little meal. It was a very sunny spot. That was probably the only downside. And she only took cash or e-transfer.
Yeah. All these like stops where the rest stops and stuff, there's always like boat launch or a lake or something. So it's kind of nice, right? Like we went for a walk down by the lake and stuff. And
there was also this, which I thought was just kind of funny looking. We didn't go over to see it. I'm assuming from what I've learned with Megan and welding that it's something to do with a pressure vessel.
Yeah, I think it's part of a pipeline. So
I just thought it was kind of funny. It reminds me of a cartoon, Dilbert. I think like the little guy with the big glasses. Kind of like a little face there. Here's a view. You can drive down to the boat launch. And there's picnic tables out there. You could actually sit out there to eat your lunch if you wanted to. It's always nice to get out and stretch your legs. We had been trying to find a spot to off-grid camp for the night. The guy who told me about the day before spot gave me some spots near where we were going to be. And we went and drove around and we thought we had found a spot on a lake. But then we found there were a couple houses with people out front. And then we drove down another small road. And again, we thought we had found a perfect spot for the night. But there already was a big trailer there. And like this was midweek. And we probably could have stayed. There's no signs that anyone was actually there. Currently. So we probably could have stayed for the night. But then we just decided we'll go to Fushimi Lake Provincial Park, which I'd never heard of. But I found out that it is the most northern one that in Ontario that you can drive to and camp. There are some that are more north, but you can't drive to them, but you can camp. And there are some that you can drive to, but you can't camp. So if you want to camp and drive, this is the one to go to. And it was really nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. The only issue that I think may be a problem for some people is to get to it, you have to go down this dirt road that's like, it's pretty long. It's pretty
12-kilometer dirt road.
Long dirt road, but once you get through that dirt road, then it appears this really kind of nice provincial park. So
when we got there, there's about an hour left before they closed the office, and she told us what sites were open and drive around. And they have a section for group camping. And we looked at that, and it was kind of interesting because it was like 2 strips of individual sites, but there was nothing between the sites. So if you were with a group, you could each have your own site rather than some places where it's just like one area. These were actual sites, and there was no one there. So we said, we'll take it.
Yeah, and it was a pretty nice spot because it was like close to the lake, close to the beach, close to the boat launch. And it had its own, I guess, a washroom there.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. Yeah. And here's the typical me. We were having leftovers for dinner, and I still managed to spill on myself. Some things don't change, do they?
No.
So after we had dinner, it was still pretty hot, 29 degrees. That was probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night by the time I took that picture. I think this was the road down to the boat launch. That was just outside of our campsite. And this was our fish cleaning hut, which I had never seen at a provincial park before.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. Like up there, it was full fish cleaning. Had the cutting board, had a wash down station. They even had like filleting knives in there and everything. And
Stinky.
It seemed like as we went along this trip, we stayed at a few other provincial parks, and it seemed like up there, they all had.
But this was the nicest.
Fish cleaning stations. And I suspect because, there's bears in that area, so I guess they kind of want to limit where you clean your fish and stuff. So I assume that's why they probably...
After I realized that, and there were some people in there cleaning, I was like, maybe we shouldn't have chosen these spots.
Yeah, where we had set up our tent, that was like a stone's throw away, right? Yeah. So, but that's okay.
Actually, the nicest one we saw. And the beach was so nice, too. It was very expansive. It's just the place that had the little girls swimming.
Yep.
And we asked them if the water was cold. And they're like, well, it's better than the glacier water we were swimming in before. I was like, okay. A little bit of animal life there. When the dragonflies are that big, that there's a lot that they're feeding on. The bathrooms looked really nice, very new. We were looking forward to showers in the morning. Really impressed with this provincial park compared to the one that we stayed in Algonquin.
Yeah, this was a really nice park. It was really nice. The only issue was the mosquitoes were like crazy. The first night it was black flies. This time it was mosquitoes, and I've never seen mosquitoes like this. Like, there were so many mosquitoes that when we're walking around at night, you would shine your light
and it looked like it's snowing.
It looked like it was snowing. There was so much, like you shine a flashlight, it looked like it was snowing. There were so many mosquitoes flying around.
So the shower that I showed was the comfort station, but then this is like their little bathrooms, whereas in other parks, these would have been outhouses. And here, and some of the other provincial parks we stayed at, they were actual flush toilets.
Yeah. It was pretty, it was
really nice. So. They also have seasonal sites, which is a neat opportunity.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the provincial parks in the northern areas of Ontario, they allow seasonal sites. And from what we saw, it looks like a lot of people use them.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense because they probably don't get the traffic that the ones in southern Ontario get. And it probably helps them, make ends meet if you're, renting out a site for the season for someone. So every park we went to, there was, probably like 30% of the park was seasonal sites, would you say? So it's kind of neat. So
it was nice and quiet. We ended the day with the campfire again. And again, I tried to use my star chart, but this was the sky at like 11 p.m. and it wasn't totally dark, but it looked darker on film than it did in real life. Almost 11 o'clock.
Is it 11 o'clock already?
It's 10 to 11.
Is it really? Wow, that's crazy.
I just knocked my glasses off trying to kill mosquitoes.
Did you stand there?
Couldn't see any stars, and the mosquitoes were bad, so we decided to call it a night. And oh boy, were we in for a surprise in the morning.
Yeah.
You'll have to come back for the next one, because even for someone that's been camping since I was 6 months old, I was not prepared for the morning.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was day 2 of our trip to Thunder Bay. We made it as far as Fushimi Provincial Park. So if you like this one and you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that little bell thing. See you later.
Driven by adventure, guided by intuition and a compass. Always explore what's around the next bend.